15 yards into the half, fairly central, just to the right of the centre. Chips it in, players coming at far post. Headed across the goal, and it's in the back of the net. That's Gowling going and Bogle's going in. Who's got it? Who cares? Toto's there as well. Bogle's the man claiming it. It went in, and Town have got it. Bogle, I think, is the man who's going to claim that. But the main thing is, it's in the back of the net. And Omar Bogle, the man claiming that one. It's Grimsby Town 1, Forest Green Rovers 0. And here is Nathan Arnold picking the ball up for Town. And hitting it left for Hammond, away on the left-hand side. Hammond chases it, nobody with him at the moment. 2.5 minutes to go to half-time as Nolan picks it up now. Nolan away left-hand side to Robertson. Robertson chips it across. Bogle going in, comes out to Arnold, who bowls it in again. Keeper's lost it. Bogle's there, and that's a second. That's a second for Grimsby Town. No doubt that time he thinks about taking his shirt off, but he's not. But that's a second from Bogle. Keeper spilled the shot that came in. Bogle made no mistake. Grimsby Town 2, Forest Green.
Hi, I'm Dave Dixon. Welcome to Three Fish on the Shirt. And this evening we welcome a very special guest, voice of the Mariners, John Tondeur. Welcome, John.
Former voice of the Mariners.
No, you'll always be the voice of the Mariners to us. And we really appreciate you coming on tonight, John. So we could kick off with the weekend. Town, I always think it feels like going to the same game again when we kind of capitulate like that in the second half. To a mistake. How did you see the game Saturday?
Yeah, well, I thought first 10 minutes they looked very good. Then it sort of evened itself out, didn't it? I mean, conditions didn't help. It should have been a 0-0, shouldn't it? Really, apart from a bit of bad defending at the end, really, that they gave the goal away. I think there's situations where you just have to sort of clear it, and that maybe, obviously, looking back on it, that was one of them.
Yeah, I think it was one of those games where you just hoped we'd fashion a chance, but as the game went on, we seemed less and less likely to do that. And
yeah, I think the subs didn't help.
yeah, it's difficult to look at Saturday's improvement off the back of 5 home defeats, but thank goodness for the away form, and we hope that the home form picks up soon. John, I wanted to ask you about Wembley, and I've heard you say previously that the Forest Green Rovers winning goal was one of your favourites to commentate on, and I just wanted to sort of pick up with you how you cope with the emotions of being a commentator and a fan at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, the knowledge of the club, I think, helps. Sometimes when you hear people doing it on Sky and various places like that, or people who are doing it on way stations who haven't got the knowledge of the club, that is as much that as anything. So when Arnold's goal went in, I knew what it meant for everybody behind that goal, and just the same, I was very pleased with the way we covered the relegations. Obviously not pleased with the relegations themselves, but the way those two games were covered. And for both those games, I knew exactly what I was going to say, because in both games, I think it was almost inevitable that we would go down.
Yeah.
So I had things prepared. And the first game, actually, against Burton, that we went down, actually won a Sony Award. We were put in for the best sports programme.
Yeah.
Best radio sports programme of the year, and we won the Bronze Award there.
Yeah.
So it was nice to be appreciated, even though it was something we were rather didn't happen.
But in terms of you doing that as your job, kind of forgetting football for a minute, it kind of doesn't matter what's happened. If you've done your job right, it's nice to get recognised. And that Sony award-winning. Was it that particular show, or was it as a show as a whole that won for the year?
No, it was that particular big game, the Burton
Yeah.
one. It was good. We got Gary Birtles on before, I think, and then I think John Fenty lost his temper, I think, with Burns, which wasn't a very rare occurrence, and that sounded good. And I was pleased with commentary at the end as well. So I remember saying to Burns at the end, terrible day, but that fantastic program.
Yeah.
And
it's nice
then about a few months later, I suddenly got a call. Can you come down to London?
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So, what was the awards like? Was there famous faces there? Were you? Did you get to meet anybody exciting?
Right. Well, yeah, we were sort of hobnobbing with Ronnie Wood from the Stones. If you look at my Twitter, you'll see that picture. I think I've airbrushed Matt and Burnsy out that one, so you don't have to look at that. But lots of different people, and it was a very good night.
We'll come back to that shortly. Meeting stars, because you'll have met quite a few along the way in the football world and in the music world, I guess. So Arnold's goal, you're saying about the what it meant to the club, and I think your abiding sort of words were relief. That's the relief. That's given to everybody, and actually somebody's cut it with the footage on YouTube.
Tries to get there. Sliced in the air by Racine. Arnold. Town want a free kick. They don't get it, but they've got the ball to Nolan. Nolan on the left-hand side. Does he go? He's going inside here to Hooven, who hits it. Falls to Arnold. Arnold! That's it! That's it! He sealed it! Grimsby Town are back in the Football League! Just a minute to go, and Nathan Arnold makes it 3-1. Look at the scenes behind the goal. Look at the relief. The agony is finally over. Grimsby Town 3, Forest Green Rovers 1.
And your words go really well with the pictures of the fans, and it's a really nice piece, that. Picking up on the bad days, and you talked about the relegation. I'm guessing the other one you're talking about is Exeter. You finished that one with a big list of where it went wrong on that occasion, if I remember rightly. And you talked.
That was a really weird one, because I'd had a bit of a shall we say discussion with Rob, who was sports editor at Humberside for a brief while.
Rob Staten.
He didn't want anybody to go to Exeter. It was after COVID. We could have gone.
Yeah.
But I think it was because Crofty couldn't go. He wanted Crofty there as well. And I'm saying, well, I'm sure we could work out somehow, but we need to have somebody there.
Yeah.
But we didn't. And so I ended up doing commentary on that from a studio in Hull with no crowd noise, no sound or anything. And it was a really, really weird one. But yeah, I mean, there were just so many things that had gone wrong that season, and I just basically listed them for the last 5 minutes of the game.
It wasn't a hard list to make, and I think
the Mariners are out of the Football League. They go down here 3-2. They've fought their way to try and preserve their status. It hasn't worked, and they go out of the Football League. 11 years ago, we were in this place, and what has been learnt in that time? We don't blame the players who were here tonight and put in a fantastic effort, really, especially when they went down to 10 men. But what do we look at? Releasing their best players, COVID clauses in players' contracts, signing poor players on long contracts, no pre-season matches, darts matches, signing 7 loan players when you can only play 5. Ian Holloway, convicted fraudsters, statements, headbutting your own teammates. John Fenty. They say the darkest hour is just before the dawn, and it's a dark, dark hour for the Mariners tonight. A new dawn is coming, but the Mariners will be facing that new dawn in the National
list
League.
To make, and I think you talked about releasing your best players, COVID contracts, signing poor replacements on long contracts, no pre-season, darts, 7 loanees when you can only play 5. Ian Holloway just on his own as one of the things. Alex May, statements, headbutting your own players, and John Fenty with your list of things after Exeter. So is that your frustration coming out in its entirety?
Well, what it was mine, but also I think hopefully mirroring what the town fans were feeling at that time, because they were obviously, they knew what we'd been going down for a while, hadn't we? And
Yeah.
despite all the new owners coming in and Paul Hurst coming back, it almost became inevitable, I think. And
I agree.
that's what I was trying to mirror, really, that it was our own doing.
Yeah, I think your list did actually mirror most of what was going on. I think it was really frustrating after hearing Ian Holloway saying, I wanted to stick with it and all that. The minute there was any wind of Mr. Fenty leaving, he was off as well, and that all sort of basically put everything he'd said in my mind in the bin. It was just he was not what he purported to be, which is why I think he gets called what he gets called by town fans now. And we're seeing it again played out at Swindon. It appears he seems to have popped up and is acting remarkably similarly. Do you see it that way?
Well, we'll see how it goes, shall we? And I'm not going to judge things
I saw one of your
too
tweets
soon.
that just said, "Hmm."
I think town fans. He'll be going down there. I think some of them are going as Ghostbusters, aren't they? Have you heard that
I
rumour?
think a white sheet with a couple of holes in should just do it. I think this
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, no. So yeah,
Well,
I think you're right. But yeah, I worry for those guys on their club at the moment. You said when you retired that you had lots of support from players and most managers. Who were the ones you had most trouble with?
everyone knows the Michael Jolly rant,
Yeah,
which surprised me. I didn't record it. I wish I would have done if I'd thought about it quickly enough,
yeah,
but I didn't.
yeah.
And then I went away, and as far as I was concerned, Michael and I had sorted that out. I'd
Mm,
seen him on the Monday, and I'd told him my side.
mm,
I think it was more Matt he was having a go at, but I happened to be in the firing line. But Matt's a colleague, and we were both there.
yeah,
So I basically told him what I thought on Monday, and we'd sorted it. Then I went away for 3 weeks.
yeah.
I didn't have any internet, anything like that. So I came back, my phone was red hot. And I don't think Michael was sacked because of the rant. I think Mr. Fenty would have probably agreed with most of it. I think he was sacked because they wanted to sack him, and that was
Yeah,
a reasonable excuse. But I have to say that when I retired, I got a lovely message from Michael wishing me all the best. So
which is nice.
that was nice.
Do you think that was the actions of a man under pressure? Do you think he was feeling it? Do you think that was the?
Oh yeah, I mean I was still doing my match report, so it was only 2 minutes after the kickoff, and I saw him walking off to the press room,
Hmm,
and I thought first thought was, oh, there's trouble here,
yeah,
because managers don't come out that quickly
no,
usually,
yeah,
unless there's a reason for it, and that was it. Yes, I think it is, and and it is a big pressure, particularly on and. I think Rob Scott was another one. Rob Scott hated me. I
hmm.
don't particularly know what I did to warrant him hating me. But he did.
If you don't like it, don't fucking come.
He detested me, really. So,
I don't think Rob Scott came across very well to anybody particularly.
but I think a lot of that. If you did see him when he wasn't around kickoff time, it's difficult to interview managers when they've just lost 2-0 or
Yeah,
whatever. They don't want to talk to you. You don't particularly want to talk to them.
no,
But I do think that was a lot of pressure, and it's always been a job under pressure.
yeah,
Now, and players particularly as well. The abuse people get on, well, to the faces at the game,
mm,
on social media, just awful. And now criticism, fine.
mm,
You can criticize without abusing.
yeah, I agree.
What gives you the right to abuse somebody? It's almost seems to think, well, that's all right because it's football. No, it isn't. It's the same.
Mm,
Should be the same as anywhere else.
no.
Any other rules?
We had an interview with Steve Saunders a few weeks ago. One thing that interview gave me was a real understanding of how these guys are working guys, and they're just living their life and got the same trials and tribulations. In fact, in some cases, more so than everybody else. We're not all changing our jobs every 2 years because our contracts run out and we've got to find another one quite quickly and under pressure for our families. So You get that, and Kieran Maguire, who's also been on, said the same. When he's trained players, said he was quite a snarky character, and he would often quite chippy on social media. And he said he's calmed that down now because he's met players training him about finance, and you know, and I agree. I think there'll always be criticism, but yeah, I'm more and more sympathetic to it now than I've ever been.
It does. It's the real thing that really annoys me when I see, it's bad enough when fans do it to opposing players and managers, but when it's their own players,
Yeah,
and managers, you know, it's if you tell somebody the rubbish long enough, they're going to believe you, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think we should get behind the lads. You know, if it's tough, it's tough, and yeah, we're all
Don't get
frustrated.
me
with having
wrong.
moan,
I understand the frustration, but
Yeah.
they're probably just as frustrated or more frustrated than you, and they, well, apart from Scott, they can't come back and say what they think of you, can they?
Yeah, no, exactly. And like I say, I think he was another one for his own downfall, wasn't he? He was. It was a strange pairing that. I think you've commented on that in the past. It was kind of like they even as the whole, they were one sort of neutral person, but together they were two halves of the opposite coin, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very admire what Paul's done here and other places, but I mean, I could never really understand why they were together.
Yeah. It's an odd pairing. Maybe, as I say, maybe they balanced each other out, but it all went pear shaped for Robert as it happened. But let's talk about the good ones. You've made some comments about great managers at Town. One you've now worked with as well is I call him Lord High Admiral Sir Alan Buckley to give him his full maritime honours. He's now a friend of yours as well, and having worked with him. So what have you got to say about Alan? Because he is legendary now.
Well, Alan's football teams were unbelievable. There's the Buckley Years DVDs,
Yeah.
and just go and watch those, because there wasn't just one or two fantastic goals. There were hundreds and hundreds. And I think most fans feel probably that we didn't appreciate it at the time as much as we should have done.
Yeah.
Because you will look at the quality of football that was being played, and not only that, some of the players brought in, and knocked down prices really, and how much they went on to become Town legends or move on somewhere else. But some fantastic players, some fantastic characters, but it was just the quality of the football, the pass and move, wasn't it? And that which was really culminated in that goal against Huddersfield. Rowley Godfrey described as the best goal on any pitch anywhere in the world.
That goal,
Yeah.
And that features quite often on the on this GTFC day page on Twitter, which is run by Bruce. Fantastic page if you ever need to see one.
Yeah. And then when Alan came to do, I bumped into him after the Sparks. He said, "Why haven't you asked me to be on the radio?" He said, "You've had." He mentioned various people, and then he even said, "You've even had bloody Mark Lever." He said, he said, "Why haven't you asked me?" I said, "Because I thought he'd say no."
Yeah.
He said, "Well, you don't know till you ask." So I asked him, and he said, "Yeah, we'll do it." And I used to go home with bruised ribs from where Alan had elbowed because he wanted to say something. But he could read the game just as quickly as like that. So.
Yeah. And when he came in, he brought a lot of players from non-league, and because we had very few players when he came in. And I remember lots of people said to me, "Oh, there's only one place we're going with non-league players, and that's to the non-league." And what he created out of those players was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you think of some of the players, Cockers, he brought in, of course, didn't he?
Yeah. Sean
and Tilson from non-league.
Yeah, he blooded Mark Lever, as you've already mentioned. I've already got Mark Lever's agreement to come on and speak to us. So,
good.
Do we get a positive nod for Mark from yourself?
Mark.
Yeah.
Top guy. Yeah. I still keep in touch with Mark.
Yeah. No, I do. He's he used to spend quite a bit of time in one of the drinking houses I used to spend time in New Waltham.
Yeah, I was going to say you have to narrow that one down a bit.
Yeah. So good old Mark. We'll look forward to speaking to him in the new year, hopefully. Alan Buckley, the Buckley years. Anybody who's not seen it, and it wants to see a black and white striped team from Cleethorpes playing some great football. Just have a look at Bruce's on this day GTFC page. And the other thing that surprises me about those times is the crowds. 4,500, 3,000 and 4,000 at the games. It beggars belief when you think what we get now for sometimes what we get.
Well, I was saying that's what I mean by, people didn't appreciate it at the time. I think it's only now people look back and say, my God, we were good then, because, there was still the lump it in the box calls back in those days,
Yeah.
So,
pissing about with it, get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, always. There'll always be somebody that's prepared to have a moan. And like I said, the three Buckley periods, the first two particularly were fantastic, and
Yes.
we owe him a lot, which is why he's still got plenty of esteem at the club. Fast forward a little bit further to some more recent positives. We spoke to our previous guest Adam Somerton about the playoffs in 21-22. Must have been pretty good for yourself, covering off some of that. Although you did miss one of them, didn't you?
I missed the Notts County game because I'd arranged to pick up my daughter at Luton Airport. She was flying in from France, and we were going to stay down in Centre Parks. But I'd arranged it all, and then they moved the game, didn't they, for telly at the last minute?
Yeah.
And there was just nothing I could do about it.
I bet you were gutted, right?
So I remember watching most of the game in Centre Parks with my lad, and then 10 minutes before time we had to go. We were losing 1-0, so that's it. And so I didn't know the result for ages.
Right.
I thought we'd lost.
Yeah.
And my son rang me and he said, what's happened there? I said, we lost, didn't we? And he said, no, we've got a lead. It's extra time. We've scored. So I thought, right, I'm not listening. And I'm obviously not meant to listen. So I waited for the phone call to say we'd won.
Yeah.
And then Wrexham was just unbelievable. I mean, Adam Somerton would tell you all about that. That was just crazy. It could have been 10-9. I mean, Wrexham had a penalty they shouldn't have had. They didn't get a penalty they should definitely have had, and maybe another one.
Was
they
that
had
hand of
ball punched in the net.
Hand of Mullin, yeah.
But unbelievable game.
Yeah, and from your perspective, were you exhausted as everybody else was after the game? Was it as exhausting for you as it was for others?
I mean, that was the game somebody thumped me from the back.
I want to ask you about that. What happened?
Yeah, he didn't thump me particularly hard, but all through the rest of the game, I'm thinking, is he going to do this again?
Yeah.
So I mean, if he'd hung around at the end and said, "No, I'm sorry, I just got a bit carried away with himself," but then I thought about it a bit more. I thought, what if he does it to somebody else? So I did report him. Wrexham were really good about it, but in the end,
was it after one of the goals?
I think it was. I think Crofty had celebrated one of ours.
Right.
I mean, which is you're not supposed to really do in a press box.
No.
And then maybe he thought he could. So when Wrexham equalised or whatever, he thumped me because possibly either he couldn't reach Crofty or he probably thought I was a softer option. But nobody saw it because everybody was watching the game apart from his mates with him who weren't going to say anything.
Yeah. So it's a shame on such a positive day, but all's well that ends well. You weren't injured too badly then.
No.
Thank goodness for that. No, so that was really positive, and Town got back into the league, and now we await kicking on. I think at the moment we've said, on balance, it's not too bad. 5 home defeats is not great, but we can move on. I personally have got a lot of time for David Artell, and I really hope it comes off for him. He comes across tough but professional. He don't like to give too much away, and I get the feeling often he wants to keep his cards close to his chest for not giving too much away to opponents. Is that am I right with that?
Yeah, I mean, like that. I mean, what I will say about David, he's really the only manager all this time who's really taken the time to get to know me and ask me, about things now, what I think and various stuff like that. I have a lot of time for him, get on really well with him. I like you, really want him to succeed. I think the injuries have caused all sorts of problems. That I mean, David sort of speaks to me quietly, about things that I'm not going to talk about because it's just between us. And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But I know that the second half of games have concerned him this season, where he's looked at his bench and thinking, "Hang on, what can I do here? There's not an awful lot I can do."
No, I appreciate that. I've also in preparing for today, I looked back in the archives for some of the stuff about town at Wembley and enjoying them big games. And I found something a bit shocking, Mr. Tondeur, if I'm honest. I found you in a Tigers shirt. I was horrified. What happened? How did that happen?
You know, when I was on my 30th year, they Humberside gave me a ticket to Wembley, a weekend at Wembley when Hull City got to the cup final, and one of their guys said, "Well, I wore a Tiger shirt for me." So I'm not precious about it. I don't mind. Everybody knows I'm not a Tigers fan, but for the laugh, I'd do it. But one or two people got really upset about it. I'm not precious about that at all.
No, me neither. And I found it amusing because I'd never seen it before, and I found it and I thought,
yeah, I did take a bit of stick for it, but
why wouldn't you? As long as as long as people get over themselves, sometimes they can get that. And in recent times, you've seen sort of changes happened at the BBC, and we saw Burnsy exit the building, and that was a bit of an unsettling time, wasn't it, at the Beeb?
Yeah, and not just Burnsy, other people as well.
Yeah.
Burnsy is my great friend, my great confidant, my great partner in crime. We've worked together and had some amazing laughs together. I always said to him that some of the best nights or best days and best nights out of my life have been with him, and some of the worst as well.
And some of the same night.
Yeah. But I thought he was treated very, very badly.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the one at that time. Yeah.
I got the impression we were all with Burnsy at the time. It was sad to see.
Yeah, very sad to see. And I don't think the people who made decisions had any idea the power and the popularity that Burnsy had in Hull and the surrounding areas.
No, and he had one of those demeanors on the radio where you felt he was like with you in the room having a chat with you. I just thought it was a real shame. We'd heard him a lot over the years covering town on and off, and it was a shame. Was it a shoe-in that Matt Dean was going to take over, or was that?
From me?
Yeah. Or was it always on the cards?
I probably would. Yeah, I mean, he's been waiting sort of long enough. There was a time he moved to sports editor and then sort of moved into telly a bit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was assuming that he would, and I'm doing a great job.
Yeah, no, I like Matt. He's a good guy. What are your thoughts on the rise of podcasts and things like that? How do you see that, and its effect on fans and audiences and people?
It's a bit like social media. Everybody's got their own opinion, and now everybody's got a chance to say it, which in some times, in some ways, is a good thing, and in some ways, it isn't.
Yeah.
I don't listen to speech radio. I don't listen to much at all. I only listen to music, really.
You have to watch this on the telly then, John.
Yeah. So, I've never really been one for listening to speech radio or podcasts or anything like that. So, it doesn't really affect me too much. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, do you listen to that? The rest is football or the rest is politics?" Or no. No.
I see it as a bit of a parallel to TV. So, like nowadays, nobody watches. Doubtless there will be people, but nobody watches Corrie at 7:30, some at 8, some at 9, and that's on next week. You just record it, or you catch up on it when you want to. And I see podcasts as kind of a similar thing, but a wider audience.
Going on, I mean, I like it going on a cruise now. You can't move by being knocked over by somebody doing a YouTube thing.
Yes.
So just enjoy your holiday, mate. And like a concert, they've all got the phones up.
Yeah.
I occasionally take a photo and whatever, but only very, very briefly.
Yeah.
And
I noticed on the Internet Movie Database you got a credited as producer on the film.
I think that's me because you do quite a lot of work and don't get paid. I think that's
so you got a producer credit. I just think now he's finished in radio. Is he going to go off and do some big Hollywood movies or something? Well, next see you
Who's that?
popping up at Wrexham because you're now a big movie producer.
Well, of course, Ryan Reynolds was in the All Town at Wheat
He was.
film, and so was I. So I did say to Jack Spring, "Can we get starring John Tondeur in big letters and Ryan Reynolds in small letters underneath?" But he wouldn't go for that.
Did he not? Your role as producer didn't extend that far then. By the
No,
sounds
no.
of it. No, it was that was good. That and he uttered the fantastic line in that film, "Effing McAtee." It was that got a real
Yeah.
good response from the
Yes.
audiences. On the only time
Yeah.
I've ever been to a premiere, which was nice to see everybody out in the world. Talking of the Hollywood end of the spectrum, you'll have met. We talked about Ronnie Wood, and the Four Tops, who were the start of your radio, one of the start of your radio career. Who's left you most starstruck in terms of meeting them in football and music terms, or are you not one for getting too starstruck?
Well, yeah, Springsteen, I met.
You met him?
Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen. I didn't interview him, as I met him in Dublin after a few pints. Can remember very, very little about it.
Are you sure it was Bruce?
Yeah, definitely. I interviewed Elton John when he came to Blundell Park.
All right.
Very briefly, just about football, not about anything else.
Yeah.
Most of the people are really great. I interviewed Graham Taylor a few times when he was before and after he was England manager and during. He was great. He had a great little way of doing it. Every time, just before you start the interview, you'd always say to, "Oh, what's your name again?" And then you'd say John. And when you started ask him a question, you go, "Well, John," like he'd known you for years, sort of thing. I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of people. They're all, I can't really think of many that haven't been very, very pleasant. And Kevin Keegan, in particular, he was a lovely guy. Others, I did interview Lineker after Spurs won here.
Yeah. Keegan had a bad night at Blundell Park, didn't he? That night was one of a really good nights under the lights, wasn't it? The Fulham 1-0 game.
Yes,
that was a great win.
And Pescalido got sent off, didn't he?
Yeah. It was a really good atmosphere that night with 9,000 in the crowd, and fantastic night.
Oh, and one of my favourite interviews was one where the bloke I was interviewing hardly spoke, and that was Alan Shearer after the Whittle incident, and I just saw him on the pitch, and in a rare moment of technical wizardry, Humberside had actually managed to get a radio mic. So I'm on the pitch, and he just stood there. So I just thought, right, here we go, and I got grunts and monosyllabic answers. I think the longest sentence he came out was, "He done me."
Well, he did, didn't he?
But it was still. I still enjoyed that. There was a lot of sort of silences in it, but it made quite good radio.
Not many people may know, but I'm sure you do that. Tondeur is French for shearer or clipper.
Yes.
So have you managed to stay clear of Justin Whittle's elbow? I wouldn't fancy running into it. I saw him in the fan zone the other week, and I thought, he's still
he's a lovely guy, Justin. I haven't seen him for a bit, but
he's one of them. He's all right off the pitch, but you won't want to meet him necessarily on it, as Shearer will testify. Yeah,
he's given as good as he got Shearer, hasn't he? And Justin got on with it, didn't he? And and I think Shearer was offering him outside, wasn't he, at the end of the game? I think he's probably grateful Justin didn't take him up on it.
He just whinged the whole game, didn't he? Anyway, just a big whinger. So before we wrap up, John, I wanted to ask you if you've got any memories of any embarrassing moments on air where things didn't go quite right, and you think back to a humorous moment on air that made for a bit of frivolity.
Well, there's been a couple of twirling ones, not from me particularly, but from people I've been interviewing. I always remember Richard O'Kelly. He was a lovely guy. He did a few games with us when he was youth coach at West Brom, and Town were playing West Brom. And was it Jason Roberts they were bringing on a sub? And he was a young Jason Roberts, I think. And I remember saying to Richard, "He's quick, this lad, isn't he?" And Richard just came back in his very strong West Country accent. He's like, "Shit off a shovel." So, thanks, Richard. And but there wasn't a case. I mean, this is more embarrassing for Bernsey. At times we were slightly unprofessional, particularly if we were in London for a game and we'd been out the night before, and sometimes overindulged. And on this particular one, it was a I don't know why it was, but it was at Watford or Sunday kick-off about 12:30, and we were both feeling rough. I was feeling very rough, but I knew Bernsey was even worse. So in those days we used to do half a half each, so sort of 22 minutes each, and then the other commentator would take over, and Richard O'Kelly was with us, and I managed to get through my 22 and a half minutes, and I said, see you through to half time. Here's David Burns. And Burns, he just came up with it's Watford 0, Grimsby Town 0. And I suddenly saw his face, and he goes, and here's John Tondeur. And he rushed down the stairs of the stand at Watford. Me and Richard are killing ourselves looking at each other, laughing, because we knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And we didn't see him again until the end of the game. But there was an announcement at half time. If anybody got a cork, could they take it up the press box?
Oh dear! I was going to say, did you say to Richard O'Kelly, he's quick, isn't he? And he says, yeah, he's like shit off a shovel.
Yeah, well, yeah, similar. Yeah.
I had first-hand experience of Richard O'Kelly's kindness. As a young lad, I went to a fans forum, and Richard was there, and we got chatting afterwards, and he twigged that I was walking home or getting the bus or something. He gave me a lift. You wouldn't hear of that nowadays necessarily in fans and players being in such proximity and the like. But no, he was a good guy. So just finishing up, we appreciate your time this evening. It's been great chatting. Thoughts and hopes for the future of the Mariners in the hands of Jason and Andrew. You feeling positive still about where the club's heading?
Yes, very positive. And it annoys me when people come on social media and give them stick, and because they're doing such a fantastic job. And if they're not careful, people will take so much abuse and then walk away. I mean, I'm sure 99% of Mariners fans are fantastic and will support them throughout. Yeah. But just one or two are just occasionally. Just wonder where their heads are, really. Yeah. So I think the club is moving in the right direction. I think it's going to be a slow, steady process, but as long as it's in the right direction, that's the key thing. And as I say, I think it's in very, very good hands with Jason and Andrew.
Yeah, I think so too, John. And I think it's nice that we've got that ownership settled now, and it's been a few years since that change has taken over. We've been out and in the league since that happened, which kind of tells you, they got in at the right time to build it back up. And no, I'm feeling much more positive. Do you still get to all home and away games, or is it a bit of a pick and choose?
Most of them, I'm sort of just home games, definitely. I've only done one away. Salford this year was because my son lives just up the road from Salford's ground.
My daughter does, and that's why I went as well.
I think we've got a couple of weekends away planned. A little group of us who go away to such things. But I'm enjoying travelling around as well. So there's certain games I will miss, but I'll always be there in spirit.
Yeah, John, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Much appreciated for your time, and you're welcome to come back and talk to us any time in the future. And hope to see you about at Blundell Park from time to time.
Sure, I will, Dave.
Arnold will take the free kick, 15 yards into the half, fairly central, just to the right of the centre. Chips it in, players coming at far post, headed across the goal, and it's in the back of the net. That's Gowling going and Bogle's going in. Who's got it? Who cares? Toto's there as well. Bogle's the man claiming it. It went in, and Town have got it. Bogle, I think, is the man who's going to claim that. But the main thing is, it's in the back of the net, and Omar Bogle, the man claiming that one. It's Grimsby Town 1, Forest Green Rovers 0. And here is Nathan Arnold picking the ball up for Town and hitting it left for Hammond, away on the left-hand side. Hammond chases it, nobody with him at the moment. 2.5 minutes to go to half-time as Nolan picks it up now. Nolan away left-hand side to Robertson. Robertson chips it across. Bogle going in, comes out to Arnold, who volls it in again. Keeper's lost it. Bogle's there, and that's a second. That's a second for Grimsby Town. No doubt that time he thinks about taking his shirt off, but he's not. And that's a second from Bogle. Keeper spilled the shot that came in. Bogle made no mistake. Grimsby Town 2, Forest Green. Grimsby Town 2, Forest Green Rovers 1. To get there. Sliced in the air by Racine. Arnold Town want a free kick, they don't get it, but they've got the ball to Nolan. Nolan on the left-hand side. Does he go? He's going inside here to Hooven, who hits it. Falls to Arnold. Arnold, that's it! That's it! He's sealed it! Grimsby Town are back in the Football League! Just a minute to go, and Nathan Arnold makes it 3-1. Look at the scenes behind the goal. Look at the relief. The agony is finally over. Grimsby Town 3, Forest Green Rovers 1.